Good afternoon. I'm Beth Little. I'm the Dean for Enrollment Management and University Relations at the Potomac State Campus. And I want to welcome you to our campus conversation today. I hope that you've been able to join into the WVU System campus conversations. They've been occurring for the last few weeks, once a week. But today's conversation is focused specifically on the Potomac State campus. So joining me today are our campus president, Jennifer Orlikoff, and our Dean of Student Experience, Lucas Taylor. So our format is going to be that they're going to share a brief presentation and some important information with you, and then we'll take your questions. And we encourage you to share any questions that you have. So before we get started, let me just walk you through some of the features that are available today. If you would like to be able to view closed captions, just use the CC button that's available. And if you have any questions that you want to ask, use the Q&A function. And just type your questions in the Q&A box, and we'll respond to as many of those questions live as we can. We also have some moderators that are going to be typing responses because, again, we want to try and make sure that we get all of your questions answered. After this presentation, at the end of our presentation, we're going to be sharing some information if you have follow-up questions after we've concluded today. If you see that someone has asked a question that you're also interested in the answer, you don't have to retype the same question. You can just use the thumbs up function, and that way we'll know that's a popular question. And one other thing I want to add, if you're having any technical difficulties, feel free to reach out to us, and you can email us at psc-ur@mail.wvu.edu. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn things over to our campus president, Jennifer Orlikoff.
Well, hello, everyone, and I apologize for being muted when we started this, but I'm so glad to see all of you here, and I'm really looking forward to having this conversation so that we can talk about what the student experience will be like on campus when you arrive. However, in case some of you have not seen some of the previous conversations that occurred about some of the changes that will be occurring at WVU and the Potomac State College campus, first of all, the classes will begin on Wednesday, August 19th, as previously scheduled, which is very helpful. And the students will remain on campus without a fall break this semester through Tuesday, November 24th, and then leave for the Thanksgiving break. And the reason that we are doing this is so that students can stay on campus and stay isolated, if you will, from the external influences so that we can keep everyone as safe as possible. And then 1 week following Thanksgiving break will be still instructional time, with all of our final exams then being conducted online. And so then the spring 2021 calendar is a little bit different as well. We will be beginning on January 19th. And we will not have a spring break so that our classes can end on April 30th. And then our finals will be May 3rd through the 6th. So this is a new schedule. Again, this is designed to keep everyone safe on our campus. So some issues or some aspects of the new life on campus, what it's going to be looking like. And these are all based on the guidelines that we have received by our health officials, the guidelines from the CDC, and also from our local health department. Every student will be required to be tested. We will provide the testing. The testing will be right as you move on to campus, or if you're a commuter student, you'll be able to test before the week that the classes start. You'll also be asked, and this will be a requirement, to wear masks in every campus building, in every class. This is to protect you, to protect our community our campus community, but also to protect our community at large. So the masks will also be provided to you, which is really very cool. So after you do the testing, each person will receive a PPE kit. And in this kit, there will be a branded mask, cloth mask that you'll be able to wear, plus a few disposable masks, gloves, hand sanitizer, and then a really cool tool so that you'll be able to open doors and touch buttons with this tool, so you don't have to actually touch it yourself. We will also be practicing physical distancing on campus, and this means that our classrooms will also be de-densified, if you will. We will be finding ways to make sure that you have enough space between you and your fellow classmates. And then also we will have plexiglass shields in place to protect, certainly in the service, at the service desks and in front of the classrooms. It's a protection for both ways. And then when I mentioned de-densification, that's a new word that we have now with COVID-19, but we'll be reducing the density by 50% in each of the classes, as well as in our offices. We'll be rotating our staff through so that you'll be able to meet with the people that you want to meet with. And then for cleaning, to just assure you that we are going to take as many precautions as possible. We are increasing the cleaning of high traffic areas and high touch surfaces. This includes doorknobs, elevator buttons, crash bars for the doors. We're just making sure that every surface that is frequently touched is cleaned on a very frequent basis. And the public restrooms will be cleaned additionally throughout the day, again, especially the high touch areas with the faucets and the light switches. And well, hopefully you don't need to put on the light switch, but we will be making sure that you are safe as we can with the deep cleaning along the way. And currently we are deep cleaning each of the residence hall rooms for fall move-in. And then we've also expanded the number of hand sanitizer locations across the campus. And each classroom will also have hand sanitizer in it so that you'll be able to just take care of cleaning your hands one more time before you get in the class and as you leave the class. It's in place to make us all feel much more comfortable about being together, because we are so looking forward to being together once again in the fall. So our modes of instruction will be affected by these new changes. We will have a combination of instructional types. There will be face-to-face instruction on our campus because we do have small classes. Often we are able to move the classes into sort of larger classes so that we can spread out, so that we can have the correct social distancing within the classroom. We will also be offering some classes online, classes where it might be more difficult to do the social distancing. And then we will have some hybrid classes. We're calling it high flex, but the hybrid is you might come one day in person to class, and then the next day you might be doing something remotely. You might be watching the class through live streaming. And then on the third day of the week, you might be doing an online activity. So we're going to be mixing things up, if you will. And I think this is very exciting because you'll get a really new and engaging approach to instruction. And I hope that you all can appreciate and enjoy sort of this new way of doing things. And we certainly do want to emphasize how important our focus is on your experience on our campus, and we are here for you. So please make sure that if you've got any questions about anything that's going on with instruction or on campus that you're not sure about, please reach out to us. I know that later on there's going to be a slide with a place to ask questions, and also during this presentation, you'll be able to ask questions through the chat function. But that's it for now for what I have to present, and I'll share it back to Beth Little. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Orlikoff. And so now we're going to turn things over to Lucas Taylor, our Dean of Student Experience. And of course, he's going to be talking a little bit more directly about kind of that out of the classroom experience. So Lucas?
Hey, thanks, Beth. I appreciate it. And thanks, Dr. Orlikoff. Let me first start by reiterating some of the things that Dr. Orlikoff said. Most importantly, how excited we are to get you back on campus. You guys bring life to our campus, and we need that again. So we're really looking forward to having you back here in the fall. Now, I want you to understand that there is no Potomac State without our students. And that's why we're trying to do everything we can to make sure that this experience is an engaging and meaningful one, and that we're putting your safety first as well. And I do want you to know that things will look different, but the temporary sacrifices we make now are definitely for the greater good. So as a community, we'll have to be working together on that. So let's go over some information here that I'd like to share with you. Again, first, we recognize the importance of the out-of-class experience, out-of-classroom experience. There's so much more to your college experience than just showing up to class. It's all the external things that you do after class, in between. We want to make sure that that's a meaningful one. And even though campus will look different, again, the emphasis is going to be on student experiences, and that will be the same. That is not going to waver, regardless of whether what we have to face with COVID. And we want to make sure that you understand that we are committed to providing a diverse and meaningful experience for all students. That is of the utmost importance to us. And, you know, one of the great things about being part of a college and going to college is that you are part of a community and you become a family and you get to build those lifelong relationships. And that's really what we're focused on as we move forward in this new adventure. All right, so let me switch slides here. All right, now I would like to talk a little bit about our activities and programs that we're going to be offering in the fall. And again, much like the 3 different modes in the classroom, face-to-face, online, and hybrid, you're probably going to see some model of that when it comes to our activities and programs as well. But starting out first, we are planning Welcome Week activities. We have a group that meets very consistently, and now that we have our dates in place, we're really getting ready to put all those plans together and make sure that you have a real meaningful experience. Our goal with Welcome Week is to set expectations for you when you arrive to college and what your college experience will be like for our new students. And then also we want to make sure that you have a sense of belonging here. And we're going to count on our returning students to bring the new students in and make sure they get acclimated to what being a Catamount is all about. The Student Rec Center. The Student Rec Center will be open, so that will be available for our students. However, there will be social distancing guidelines in place and physical distancing guidelines. We got to make sure we abide by those, and more information on that will be forthcoming, but it will be open. It's just going to look a little bit different, as you'll hear us say quite a bit. Same goes for the Student Union and the library. They'll both be open for student use. And again, as you get closer to being on campus, we'll be able to give you more information on the details of that. The residence halls, we'll make sure all the RAs are engaging, and the RHCs, they'll still be offering programs and activities. We're really looking forward to that. That's always a great opportunity because that's your family that you're living with. So it's a great opportunity for you to engage, and albeit some of it might be a virtual engagement, but we're still going to be engaging and offering a multitude of different programming activities and opportunities for you. In the student experience department as a whole, will each offer services to students. And again, they may be delivered virtually than in person. So what I mean by that is, for instance, counseling services is one of the things that we offer students when they get on campus. And while we still will have some face-to-face interaction, some of that may be virtual as well. Same thing with possibly our health center and other activities as well. Could be more in the virtual realm. So just be prepared for that. We are excited to announce that we're going to have athletic programs competing in the fall. There's still a lot of details to work out as far as that goes. We're waiting on information from other colleges, but we are excited about offering athletic programs starting up in the fall. So for our student athletes, we'll be ready to go come fall. And again, we'll make sure that you get all the information as far as the different guidelines that will be in place in order for us to compete in a healthy or in a safe way. So that'll be forthcoming. Get to the Next slide here. Okay, so residence hall move-in. This is a really important issue. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about this, and we're going to have our resident hall director, Mike Lynch, available at the end of this to answer questions and make sure that that he's available for what we don't cover. But residence hall move-in. So this is our schedule and our setup for that. And for first-time students, so first-time students, freshmen or transfers, you'll be moving in on August the 12th from 9 to 4 if you have an even number room assignment, okay? So even number room assignment, first time freshman moving in Wednesday, August 12th from 9 to 4. For first time students, uneven number room assignments, you'll be moving in Thursday, August 13th from 9 to 4 p.m. I think in the next slide or thereafter, there's going to be an explanation of how you can identify your room assignment. So we'll get to that. But just know that for first-time students, even number room assignments, August 12th, 9 to 4, and uneven number room assignments, Thursday, August 13th from 9 to 4. And then for our returning students, you folks are going to be able to move in on Friday, August the 14th from 9 to 4. So that is our general schedule of how that's set up. Now, if for some reason extenuating circumstances would prevent you from being able to move in there, there's going to be an email here on the upcoming slides to PSC Housing. You can send an email there, and the staff there will work with you to find another date that may fit your schedule. In addition to the times and the dates of when we're moving in, just a little bit more information we wanted to provide, some things to think about. Really take advantage of this time now if you have a roommate and connect with that roommate. If you don't already know them, make sure you reach out to that roommate, social media, whatever, get in touch and make sure you guys are having conversations so you get to know one another. And it also gives you an opportunity to talk about expectations, whether you're a morning person or an evening person. You know, are you a clean freak, or are you somebody that leaves their clothes all over the floor? And believe me, my wife and I know a lot about that. We have a lot of differences when it comes to those things. So those are important discussions to have. So make sure you're having those conversations before you get on campus and really trying to connect with your roommate and one another. Another thing to think about with move-in and talking with your roommate, if you're moving in on the same day as roommates, try to have a conversation about staggering those times. So maybe one person could move in the morning and the other person could move in the afternoon. This will help mitigate some of the, some of the congestion that may occur in your own room. So if you can do that, that would be very helpful to us. And I think it would make your move-in experience more meaningful too. And then the last thing, again, moving into college, especially for our first-time students, is such a big day for family and the students, and we want you to enjoy that as much as possible. It's a meaningful day. However, with the situation we're in now, we are asking that you only bring 2 additional people to help with the move-in. So a student and 2 additional people to help with move-in. And again, if there are extenuating circumstances to where that wouldn't work out, please reach out to that housing office and we'll try to accommodate you the best we can, because we are going to be limited. We're not going to have nearly as many staff as we typically do during move-ins due to physical distancing guidelines, of course. So it is going to look a little bit different, but we are asking that you would be able to minimize the amount of people that you bring to campus when you move in. Okay, so as I mentioned, finding your room assignment. So if you need to find out whether you're in the even or odd room, this is how you do that. Just follow these steps here. You would log into My Housing with your WVU username and password, and you would select the housing application, of course, for Potomac State Campus. And then you would select Continue on the Term Selector page. And then on the application summary page, that will open and it will show you your room assignment there. And your roommate, your suite mate for students that are assigned to a double room or a suite style room. So that'll allow you to find your odd or even number so you know what day you're supposed to move in on. And again, this is what I referred to earlier. This is the email to send PSC Housing at mail.wvu.edu. So for any student that is unable to move in on one of their designated days, please reach out to this email if you have questions. And honestly, if you have concerns or questions that you don't get answered here, feel free to reach out to the folks there in housing, and they'll work with you to make sure you get everything you need. All right, now we're going to talk about some changes in the dining hall, and a lot of this information is still yet to be determined. We can assure you that once you get on campus on the 12th, you're going to be fed. We're going to have food options available for you. That whole flow and how you move in and out of the dining hall is going to look a little bit different than what it has in the past, but there will be more grab and go options available. Physical distancing will be in place for the customer lines. And the dining area configuration is still being determined, but there will be hot meal choices available. And like I said, with that, understand that there's going to be more information forthcoming with the dining changes. All right, and here's a few important reminders for all students. And again, let me reiterate, the first piece is for all students. All students will be required to complete a COVID-19 educational module, okay? All students will be required to complete a COVID-19 educational module before you come to campus. You'll get more information via your Mix account, so make sure you're checking those in the upcoming days and weeks. Lots of information will be coming your way, important information. But just want you to be prepared for that there will be a COVID-19 educational module. Now, in addition to that, for first-time students only, you will also be required to take an alcohol education module and a sexual assault prevention module. Again, those will be required for new students. And again, part of being a great community member is educating yourself and being fully prepared once you come to campus. And that's what all these modules are designed to do. So we really have high expectations for our students that they'll take advantage of that and come prepared to campus. All right, and another important thing I'd like to mention is that for all new students that have not already done so, we would like to ask you to submit your photo online for your student IDs. Okay, so as you come as a new student, you'll get your new student ID. And if you can go online and follow the link right here below, please do that and submit your own photo. That way we can have those IDs printed off and ready for you to go when you arrive to campus. If not, things can get bogged down a little bit if there's a long line of folks that still need to get their photo once they arrive on campus. So if you could really help us out, and plus you have an opportunity to be your own photographer and submit your own photo. There's guidelines in there that you'll see on the website to make sure that your photo matches what we need in order to put it on your ID. But please follow those guidelines and get that submitted prior to coming to campus so that we can get your ID ready and printed off for you so we have it as soon as you move in. You will get those the day that you move onto campus. Okay, and then some future announcements as well. As Dr. Orlikoff mentioned, there will be COVID-19 testing for everyone that comes to campus, and that information will be released in July, sometime in maybe mid to late July. Again, as I mentioned before, Welcome Week activities and other events, and those details will be announced at a future date. So please keep checking your emails, follow us on all of our social media accounts, checking the websites, be proactive in following that information as it comes. And there's some more websites at the end of this that'll guide you in the right direction too. And then finally, more details on the athletic program will be coming in mid-July as well, mid to late July. We should have some more information on those things as well. All right. All right, so again, we can't wait to see you on campus. You guys bring the life to campus, and it is gonna be a challenging time for sure. It's gonna be different, but challenges also present great opportunities. So we're looking for a lot of ways to be innovative and think differently about things, and we're gonna make the best of it because it is temporary, right? If we can get through this, we will get back to a normal type place, but we're gonna be even better off than we were before. So we're looking forward to that. So that's all I have for now. I'm gonna hand it back to Beth, and as we keep on with our presentation.
I'm sorry, I was muted too. So Lucas, thank you. And as Lucas mentioned, Mike Lynch is also joining us. He's our Director of Residence Life, and he'll be helping answer some questions. And so just a reminder, feel free to share any questions that you have. I know we have some that are already coming in, but feel free to type those if you have additional questions. So first question, Jennifer, I think this is probably going to go to you. Will WVU cover the cost of COVID-19 testing?
Yes, absolutely. We will cover the cost of the testing before the semester starts, and if there's subsequent random testing in the semester. So yes, we will take care of it.
Great. And next question, I think probably for you, Lucas. Can I leave campus and go home on the weekends?
So yes. We're not going to hold you hostage here on campus, although we are going to try to have as many fun activities and engaging activities to entice you to stay on campus. But again, personal responsibility, right? We want to make sure that you're making good decisions about where you do travel, and we're trusting you to make those good judgments. But certainly, you'd have the opportunity to go home and visit family, but just please try to keep the physical distancing measures in place, wear a mask when you go out to stores and see family and all those types of things, and just be a good citizen so that when you come back to campus and you're back within our community, everybody's as safe as possible.
Okay, and Lucas, another question for you. Will all sports be allowed to have practices in the fall? And this is coming from a student who participates in a spring sport.
Yeah, good question. Yes, we are planning on having the spring sports participate in the fall. Again, albeit it might be a little bit different. So if for instance, there was certain travel dates in the fall for some of those sports, we may minimize some of that. We may not be able to do that, maybe doing more inter squads or different things like that. But we are planning on having the spring sports have a fall season. I believe the date of that, the NJCAA announced that the date of that can begin August 31st. I believe practices can start. It'll be up to each of your individual coaches. But from the NJCAA standpoint, August 31st is the first date of practice, and fall competition for spring sports can begin September 5th. And again, that is for spring sports. It's different dates for the sports in the fall.
Okay, thank you. And Jennifer, another question for you. Someone's asking if they've already had a COVID-19 test, do they have to get another one?
So the answer to that is yes. But the good news is when you do get this next test, and by the way, it's a very light swab. It's the anterior nasal swab, so it's not a very difficult one. It's very quick and easy to do. But at the end of the test, you will receive your PPE kit that includes your WVU PSC branded mask and mask or gaiter, depending on what you choose. So that's the upside.
Okay, and Mike, we're going to bring you in for an answer to this question. What about visitation for students living in the residence halls? They want to have a friend or a guest. Can you address that question?
Sure. We're happy to have your friends and family come and visit. However, certainly for the fall semester, we are not going to allow overnight guests in the residence halls. So if you do have family or friends who are fairly local and they want to come and visit, you want to meet them for lunch, you can certainly have them in the building. But again, we're not going to have overnight guests, at least for the fall semester.
Okay. And Jennifer, a question for you. Is there a threshold for the number of students to get sick on campus with COVID-19 before we would transition to all online instruction and send students home?
That's an excellent question, and we do not have a set number. We would certainly be working very closely with our Department of Health and Human Resources, our local one in Mineral County, and then also with the health officials in Morgantown and with CDC guidelines. So the decision will be made, as it progresses. That's an excellent question. Our hope, of course, is that we don't have to address that question.
Okay, and Lucas, back to you. How will we take care of students who get sick?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and obviously that's at the forefront of what we want to be concerned about. So first of all, we do have a nurse on staff. So for students that aren't feeling well, they'll go immediately there or to the emergency room or the hospital, wherever they would need to go. But if it's COVID specific and they're showing, or even if it's not, and they're showing some symptoms, we would get them tested immediately. And then we do have one of our residence halls set aside for quarantine. And that way the student would be able to isolate if they're with a roommate. If they're not with a roommate and they're in their own individual room, we'd have to look at that. Maybe they would be able to self-isolate that way. And, you know, honestly, if a student started to feel bad and they were able to go home, that is probably what we would encourage the student to do, because we're going to be offering all these other modes of instruction so that they would be able to continue their classes and they wouldn't skip a beat as far as that goes. But we need to make sure that, you know, our top priority is the health and safety of that student, and then of course the health and safety of all of our other students and campus members. But so we do have a quarantine facility open or available for students that do have that, and we would provide meals for that student so that they wouldn't have to leave their room too much. And of course, we would keep a close eye on them to make sure they had all their needs met.
Okay. And Jennifer, a question for you. When will commuter students get tested?
Very good question. Commuter students will be tested at the same time as the other students and faculty and staff. So it's between August 13th and the 15th. And we will set up times when you can come and be tested so that you know when to arrive, and it's very quickly done. So that's the great news.
Okay, and Jennifer, maybe back to you again for this question. What if I don't want to wear a mask? Are there any alternatives?
Very good question also. If a student wants to participate in a classroom activity and be in a face-to-face classroom environment, then the student will need to wear a mask. And if the student refuses to wear a mask, they will be asked to leave the classroom. Now, in terms of alternatives, though, of course, the student could choose on their own terms to have an online schedule for fall. It's not our preference for you if you're a first-time freshman, but if that is something that you would like to do, then of course you are free to make that decision. But our goal really for first-time freshmen especially is to have face-to-face interactions, because that really is a part of what the college experience and educational experience is about. But again, individuals have the right to make their own choices and alternate experiences.
Okay, and Jennifer, back with another question about testing. Will we just be tested for COVID once or often?
The testing will occur before the semester begins, and then throughout the semester there will be random testing that's done just so that we can keep track, if you will, or keep tabs on how many cases there might be on our campus. Of course, we're hoping that with our precautions in place that there won't be very many at all, but we do want to test every now and then just to see how we're doing. So yes, there will be more tests.
Okay. And Lucas, a question for you. Is Welcome Week canceled?
No, it actually got extended because we're moving in earlier. So we're going to have a longer welcome week than what we had initially anticipated. So we are making plans. Like I said earlier, we're developing some activities and programming that once again can really set expectations. That's our goal with Welcome Week, is to set clear expectations for you so that you're prepared whenever you come to the campus to be successful, and also to create a sense of belonging and engagement. So we want you to get to know one another. And so I will just say, yes, we are planning those activities. They're going to look a little bit different, but again, it's an opportunity for us to be innovative and creative with some of the things that we're doing. But with Welcome Week, let me say this, because I'll say it every year, no matter how many great activities or things that we can plan, it's really up to you, the students, to engage. So commuters, if you're listening, please come up to campus and engage. Students in the residence halls, please engage. And we value your feedback and your suggestions. So if you have thoughts and ideas on things you'd like to see on campus, let us know. We'll implement them. But the main thing is that you engage in these activities and participate as best you can. Again, it might be behind a computer screen at times, but irregardless, our goal is going to be the same: to create those expectations and to make sure you have a great sense of belonging and in community whenever you arrive on campus and while you're here in that first week. So So yeah, we're looking forward to it, and more details will be forthcoming. Probably mid to late July, we'll get that information out.
Okay, and Lucas, another question for you. Will you still be allowed to explore Kaiser and the surrounding areas?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you can see my picture, I think, in the background of how beautiful our campus is and where it sits. And we think we're a hidden gem, right? And I think that's one of the benefits of coming to Potomac State is all the natural beauty around us. And we do not want you to miss out on that. There's amazing places for kayaking, fishing, hunting, just all kinds of outdoor activities, hiking. So we want you to take advantage of that. So please, please do that. And the fact that it's going to be outside will really help with a lot of those activities. Now, if you're going and visiting our local establishments and restaurants and things like that, just follow the local guidelines. And we would still ask that you wear a mask as much as you can, even whenever you're off campus. It's required on campus. But even when you're out in the community, please think of others. Because again, nobody wants to wear a mask. If we did, I'd have one on right now. But being a good citizen, being a person that thinks about others and that is trying to watch out for the welfare and health and safety of others, it is critical that we do that. That's why we're going to be able to come back to campus, is by taking those measures that we may not necessarily always want to do, but is critical that we do so we can be safe and make sure we have as great of an experience as possible. But yeah, look at that picture. Take advantage of it once you get here. It's going to be so many opportunities. So make sure you talk to our staff here. We'll get you plugged into the right places to go, and you can enjoy the surroundings.
Okay, and Jennifer, I'm going to go back to you with a question. Will we literally be sitting 6 feet apart in the classroom?
As much as we can, yes. But this is also where wearing the mask and washing our hands frequently is really going to make a difference. The CDC has come out and our health officials are saying that as long as we have a mask on, we can even be as close as 3 feet apart. But of course, we're going to try to get as close to the 6 feet as possible. We understand, however, as you're going through a hallway or if you're going in and out of a doorway, you might get closer than the 6 feet. And this is why the mask is just so critical. So great question.
Okay, and Jennifer, another question from a parent. Will I be notified if my child tests positive for COVID-19?
Very good question. And we would probably be working with your student first to say, please let your parents know. If the student is 18 years or older, I believe that we have to go through that student. I don't think we can notify a parent directly.
Okay. And Jennifer, another question for you. And so if someone's looking at the schedule and sees that a class does not yet have a specific professor listed, so it's probably still listed as staff, how likely is it that that class will be online for the fall semester?
Oh, not unless it's already specified as online, then it's likely not going to be online. So staff does not indicate online or off or in person, but certainly you can also reach out to the academic affairs office if you have questions about a specific class. We also encourage all of our students to take a look at their schedules closer to when the semester starts. And if they're seeing that they've got a greater mix of online than they want, or face-to-face than they want, then certainly work with your advisor, work with the academic affairs office, and we can adjust your schedule to make it what you want. So please take a look at that closer to the semester starting.
Okay, and Lucas, a question for you. And I don't know if you've had a chance to think about the answer to this, but the question is, how will SGA elections be held in the fall?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm going to encourage everyone listening to take part in SGA. Please, our student voice. So please take part in that. The more participation we have, the more voices we can have and hear from our students, the more changes we can make for the better and the more we can implement that. So that's my pitch for SGA. As far as the details, they'll be forthcoming. That's going to probably come more so in mid-July, mid to late July. We'll be working on those details and making sure we get that information out so that we can make sure we have a successful election and a lot of participation. So stay tuned.
Okay. And Jennifer, another question for you. Will there be a place where students, staff, et cetera, can see the number of random tests that are given over a month and the percent positive, percent negative?
That's a great question, and I can certainly see that we can make that available for people, because I do believe in transparency, and I do believe that people have the right to know that kind of information. So yes, we'll make that available.
Okay, and this might be a good time to note that I think we're going to take a little bit of a break next week from our campus conversations, and then the following week on July 9th, we'll be releasing information about public health and safety. So I think there'll probably be more clarification on some of the topics that have come up today. And so that'll be on Tuesday, July 9th, and then on Thursday, Tuesday, July 7th, and then on Thursday, July 9th, will be another WVU system campus conversation. So I encourage everyone to listen in. And of course, as you know, we'll be continuing to get more specific answers and more information as the summer goes on and we get closer to the start of school. And let's see, another question that's coming in. And Lucas, I think this one's probably for you. Will masks be required to wear around the dorms or at sporting events?
Yeah, so again, to reiterate, masks, anytime you're on our campus, you will be required to wear a mask. Now, as far as in the residence halls, the only time I think you can go without your mask is going to be when you're in your room, in your own specific room. Anytime you step out of that room, we're going to ask you to have your mask on and make sure you're following those physical distancing guidelines. Now, as far as sports specific, that's a good question that we're going to have to find out some answers for, as far as the actual student athletes that are competing and what that would look like. We're still working on some of those guidelines. We have some of them in place. We're working with the NJCAA, working with the region folks to develop those guidelines, but we'll get more information about that out.
Okay, and then a follow-up question, Lucas, for you. Someone's asking about conditioning or weightlifting, those type of things for athletes. Will that be allowed in the fall semester?
Yeah, so again, that information will be forthcoming. Speak to your coaches on a team by team basis, but we are gonna be able to allow that. It's gonna look different. So instead of having a whole team go into the weight room at once, it may only be 3 or 4 people at a time. Again, those numbers we're not real certain on yet, and it'll depend on where you're at. Maybe we can look at being creative and doing some of those workouts, some of the conditioning outside as opposed to being inside. So we'll be exploring all that. But, you know, the health and safety of our athletes from a conditioning standpoint is also critical. We have to make sure that when they're going in to compete, that they're at their best and able to prepare the best that they can. So yeah, we'll be making those modifications. And again, it'll look different from team to team, but overall, we want to make sure that you're ready to go and at your best for the time competition starts.
Okay, and Jennifer, a question for you. This student is going to be a student in the fall, but is also a native of Kaiser, from Kaiser, and says that I know you've mentioned encouraging students to get out and explore the community and to be respectful and wearing a mask, etc. But will we be encouraging students to not enter the community until after they've spent 14 to 15 days on campus to really be sure that they are not testing positive for COVID-19?
Very good question. And the test, that's why we're timing the test at the very beginning of the semester, or even before the semester starts. And yes, we'll be encouraging everyone to, if they've come from a distance, to stay in for the 5 days. It's not 14 days if you're asymptomatic, but if you are symptomatic, then the quarantine is the 14 days. So yes, we'll ask students to be respectful, and then wait to make sure that they're good to go, and then have them explore the community. It's a beautiful, beautiful town, as you know, and to wear the mask.
Okay, and let's see, Lucas, probably another question for you. Someone's asking if they'll be allowed to attend church services locally.
Yeah, so I think what I would do is you're going to have to find out what each individual church is doing. I know as of now, I think some of them are starting to meet in person, but I know there were still a lot that were doing drive-in services, that were having their services online. So, so certainly you would have that opportunity. That would be your choice to do it, but you'll just have to find out from each individual church what their parameters are. And again, I really would ask you to consider being responsible, wearing your mask whenever you go there, and making sure you take those proper precautions and guidelines to keep everybody safe. Because not only are we one Potomac State community, we're also part of this bigger community in the Kaiser region, and we want to make sure that we're great neighbors to all the folks here as well. So please keep that in mind when you do that.
Okay. And looks like our questions are coming to an end. I don't see any other questions coming in. So let me open to our panelists here. Is there any concluding remarks, anything you'd like to add that maybe we have not covered before we conclude today?
Sure, I'll be happy to add. Actually, it's not anything new. Lucas has already mentioned it. I've mentioned it, but we are all so looking forward to seeing you in the fall. This is going to be a great experience for all of us together. As Lucas had mentioned, you know, we are in this together, and we're finding solutions together. And I'm excited about what this is going to look like for us. It's going to be new. It's going to be different, but I'm confident that working together, we're going to make this a great experience. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all.
Great. Okay. And Lucas, if you will, we have one more slide to share. If you will share that. Just want to give the resources for everyone. If you have not visited the WVU system, Return to Campus website, it is literally a wealth of information. So please bookmark that Return to Campus website, and that has good information for all of the WVU campuses. And then we'll be continuing to share information with our Potomac State students. I anticipate we'll probably have at least one more session like this, maybe more. So be watching your mixed email and social media for announcements about sessions like these. And then also there's an email address showing returntocampus@mail.wvu. And feel free, if you have questions after we conclude today, to use that email address to reach out to get more information. And this session today is being archived, and it will be on the Return to Campus website. So if you want to rewatch it or maybe share it with someone who has not had a chance to watch it, feel free to do so. And so I want to thank our panelists today. It's been great to be with you, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.